Here's what you need to know when it comes to fall season extensions. Now, with fall gardening, even though we're talking about fall season extensions, you actually need to be starting the plants that you want to be growing in fall, usually the end of summer. If you happen to have a really early frost date, some plants may need to be started in midsummer. The reason for this is because as we get growing into fall, we have less daylight hours and we also have less temperature during the day. So all of this is going to slow the growth of your plants. So if you try to plant seedlings at fall or around your first average frost date, they're never going to get large and actually bear a harvest for you. Your broccoli will stay really small. You're not going to get ahead of broccoli or cauliflower or your cabbage. So when you're looking at your cool weather plants that you're going to be putting in for fall, you want to look how many days to maturity from planting time. Locate your first average frost date and then reverse engineer that backwards. So if it's a crop that takes 90 days before it reaches harvest time, you're going to look at what your first average frost date is. You're going to go back 90 days, and that's when you need to be seed starting and or direct sowing that plant so that it is ready to go into your cold frames in your fall season extension. It basically acts in fall as hibernation. So you're not going to get a lot of growth, which is why we need them to be at a closer to maturity size. You'll get just a little bit. But what it does is in the cold frames, it protects them from the killing frosts and hard freezes and puts them into a hibernation mode so you can come out and harvest them clear through fall and in some cases almost all the way into or through the winter months. So when you are selecting the varieties of vegetables to do for your fall planting, you will see some crossover between our spring varieties, but we're really focusing on these fall varieties that will do well in hibernation and allow you to harvest them through the shorter and colder days of fall versus spring where we're approaching the warmer season. So here is your list of fall variety plants: broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage and collards, horseradish, kale, kohlrabi, mustard greens, onions and parsley, peas, radishes and rutabaga, spinach, turnips, and carrots. Depending upon your climate, if you have more mild winters, you can play with some root crops. Specifically, beets, potatoes, and parsnips can often be overwintered, and carrots, throw those in there too. A frost can actually make them sweeter and better tasting. But if your soil gets a really hard freeze and stays frozen, if you get almost like a permafrost during the winter months, then you'll have to play and see how they do. But as I said, more mild climates, play with it because oftentimes you can use a cold frame and keep those root crops in the ground all the way through fall and into the winter months.